Welcome to Training Bytes, a digestible approach to counterpoint training. This month's topic is custom maintenance forms. Before we dig into that, a little housekeeping stuff. You'll be getting a link, a email at the end of the week with a link to the survey and to watch the video that I just started. If you have any questions during the presentation, use the Q&A button on your toolbar. If for some reason you don't have a Q&A button, you can use the chat button instead. We will be holding Q&A to the end. In case you haven't noticed, I'm not Gina Thomas. I am Marty Katz. I'm a project lead here at C&K Systems. And guiding me through this and the rest of us will be our training manager, Gina Thomas.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay. So, data quality is always an issue when you're dealing with an automated data system like Counterpoint. It's very important to have complete information. Otherwise, what you have is garbage in, garbage out. We've all heard that saying before. If your sales associates are overwhelmed by the data capture process, trying to get a new customer or a new item set up in Counterpoint, they may skip data that you want. They may put in bogus data. And I have seen this. When someone ran a sales analysis by zip code, nobody could figure out why one particular zip code was very popular. And that was because the people putting in the data were not being diligent. So when you don't have the right information or you have bad information, your reports are skewed. You may not be able to take advantage of some of the things that you're used to taking advantage of. For example, if your sales associates are not entering the loyalty program for new customers, what's the point of having a loyalty program? It won't be driving the return data that you want. So in this session, we're going to learn how to use the simplified add on the fly, and then we'll take some of the weaknesses at the simplified add on the fly and learn how to modify them in the data dictionary to add or remove fields. And at the end, we'll then take what we've learned from the simplified add on the fly and then modifying those forms and create a custom maintenance form as well using the data dictionary. So how do we set up simplified add on the fly? We go to setup, customers, customer control. And if you look on the other tab, you have a field down here that says use simplified add on the fly. We also have under the item record, set up inventory, inventory control. And on the item setup tab, we can set up simplified add on the fly there. And we also have some grid setup information that we'll see come into play later on down the road. In the meantime, we're going to take a look at our default fields, our default add on the fly forms. So here's a customer record. Okay, we've got name, we got first name and last name, we got email address. But if you have a loyalty program, there's no way to add that here. If you're collecting other data like profile data, there's no place to add that here. Accidentally click that. Same thing over here on the item record. If there's profile data, attribute information, whether or not something's weighed, whether it's an EBT item, there's no way to add that on this form. So we already reviewed how to make those, how to enable those fields, but now we need those forms. Now we need to take a look at how do we customize those forms. And we do that under Setup, System, Configuration, Data Dictionary. So when you do that, and if you see, if your screen comes up and has a System DD button on it, click on it, and that will take you to your System Data Dictionary. You have a drop down here at the top. You can choose IM. That'll skip you down towards the item records, and you can then find the item record and the IM item table and click Customize Table. Same thing with customers. You can choose AR from the drop down, choose AR Cust, and click Customize Table. Okay, so here we're going to take a look at how do we customize the default customer custom add on the fly. So you've chosen AR Cust, you have table up here, and then down here you see a empty field for custom add on the fly form. You click on the ellipsis and it will bring a lookup window to you. And these will be under the Counterpoint top level system custom forms table. And you have in here the simplified customer add on the fly and the simplified item add on the fly. Since we're modifying customers, we'll highlight it and click open. You see here, it says standard, and you should get a pop-up that says, are you sure you want to customize this standard layout? And you say, yes. Because if you say no, we were wasting our time. When you right-click in this white area here, you can choose Show Labels. When it says Show Labels, instead of saying no, it's going to say customer number. Instead of NAM, first name, last name, it's going to say name, first name, last name. All the fields will have the English translation, and the columns, when you go to select them, will show up also under the English name. So here we can see we have added here, I think, customer type. I think that's new on this field. And also loyalty program code. And you do that by dragging it over. You click the upper right X, and it says it should prompt you to save changes. And when you go to the next tab and you click save and refresh, and then you can exit your data dictionary. So what does all this look like in the real world in your real Counterpoint database? So wrong button. Bear with me a second. Everything wants to pop up on the wrong window, even though in theory I only have one. So we're going to go over here. We're going to go into ticket entry. And this nice lady comes up to you with a handful of merchandise. And you say to her, are you a member of our loyalty program? And she says, no, I'm not. Well, would you like to be? Say, yes, I love your, she says, yes, I love your store. I'm new in town and I'm going to shop here all the time. So let's take a look. Our customer's name is Gina Thomas, and she's not on the record. So we come over here and we click add, and you see we've got all the fields, and you have to skip around between the main tab, the activity tab, the profiles tab. So quite a hassle. And how often are your sales associates going to hit all the tabs that you want? So we're not going to save that. And I'm going to show you adding an item on the fly here just to save a little bit of time. But we do a lookup here, and I'm looking for an ADMSC. Well, you got to spell it right at least. Give the system a fighting chance. I'm going to choose SCW. And it's not in here. So I click over here, add. And again, it should be bringing me up my default item record. Again, with items I need from the attribute, information I need from profiles, whether it's weight or what the weight is of the item, all kinds of things. And it's all scattered throughout the system. Not friendly. So let's go to our setup, system, configure inventory, inventory control. Under item setup, we check the box that says simplify add on the fly, and we're going to leave these there. Those I'll show you how to use, how all this plays together in a little bit. Did I save this? And my computer is a little slow. Customers, customer control. And on the customer other tab is where we find this information. And if you don't remember where all these fields are, do not feel bad. Gina and I used to work right next to each other, and the number of times that we would yell out to each other, "Where's the simplified customer ad on the fly? Where's this checkbox?" I think that's why they put us next to each other, so no one else would have to pay attention to us yelling at each other. Now let's go back into ticket entry, and we're going to look at those two samples that we just did. Okay, and we'll go to customers, and I'm going to look up, and Gina Thomas is still not a customer because we didn't save that record. Now, I've defaulted this to say auto assign, but if you want to use phone numbers or whatever, you can use that as well. But again, we still don't have the ability to add the loyalty program to her record. And I am going to just do this right here. We're going to do this later where it really belongs. I don't have an ADM SCW. So I hit add. And again, it brings us up this add on the fly form. But I need so much more information to make this complete. So we're not going to save that. Now we're going to go to where the work really takes place. Setup, system configuration, data dictionary. All right. And a lot of times these come up like this. So you can't even really tell that you have two windows even available to you, but I do see this system DD here. So I'm going to hit that, and that swaps them around. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to choose AR from my drop down, and then scroll down to customer, and I'm going to click customize the table, and apparently I forgot to delete that, but it still doesn't matter because it says standard. So I'm going to hit edit, and we're going to edit the standard layout. I'm going to show labels. And so one thing I said that we wanted was loyalty program. And as many times as I've been through this, I think I passed it, maybe. Nope, there it is. Try that again. Loyalty program. And I'm also going to go up here to some profile fields. We have gender, birthday. Now, you see these numbers in the fields. That's the order that you would tab through. And I haven't rearranged anything. We're going to see that on the item record instead. But I click up there. I click Save Changes. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my item table. Let's try that again, Marty. Item, customize table. And I sure as heck left that in the wrong fields. But I do my lookup. So I want to go find it in my system, custom forms, and I'm going to choose simplify add on the fly. It's my standard field form. I'm going to click edit. Are you sure you want to customize this layout? Yes. And I am going to show labels. And so we're going to mix things up a little bit. I want tracking method because I need to know whether this item is gridded or not gridded when I set this up. And I need some item attributes in here. I don't need this copy from item number. I don't even know why it's there. And I'm going to do another item attribute. And I'm going to pick a code profile recommended by. And then finally, I'm going to choose weight because this may be something I need to ship because it's on my website. And so I need to know how much it weighs so that whatever system we use to calculate that information has access to it. All right. So now if this were live and I went through here, I would go item number description, price one, barcode, category, subcategory, primary vendor, last cost, tracking method, item attribute one, item attribute two, recommended by, and weight. So we're going to choose guess tab order. So now Counterpoint did a pretty good job of guessing the tab order. I can override this and it's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3. Doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to set back to guess. But you can if you had a reason to set the tab order to something you want. And I'm going to save this. I'm going to choose save and refresh. And now let's go see what it looks like in the real world. So, or as real as it's going to get here today.
I think you wanted to do that in receiving, if I'm not mistaken,
I am going to.
because we usually don't add new items through touchscreen, right?
That is correct. I was just showing that earlier for an example, but when we go in, now that we're going to the real world, we're going to do it in the right way. So is Gina Thomas a customer yet? Still not a customer. And so we're going to hit add. And now we see, in addition to the name information, I think that Gina identifies as female. And we'll just use 010190 for her birthday because she'd slap me if I did anything else. And so now we have Gina as a customer using all of this information. So now you can send her, if we had captured her email address, you could send her a birthday greeting. This is my birthday month. Happy birthday to me. And I'm getting all my emails saying, come get your birthday prize from us. All right. I'm going to take a look over here. We're going to go into receiving to show how we would really use that item add on the fly. Auto assign, cancel items. And the first thing I have on my list of things to buy is that list of things to receive that the buyer didn't put in the system is an ADM SCW, and it's not on file, so I hit add. Oh, look, it worked right. So I can come in here and say Adams SCW, and it's $200. It's got a barcode number of SC. None of this really matters. Adams. It's a left-handed graphite recommended by Tiger, and it weighs 15 pounds. So instead of in the regular item maintenance, I'd have had to go to at least 4 tabs to get all this information in here. And I did it here with just this one screen. And I save that, create inventory, and I'm going to do one other thing here. I'm going to add another item because I wanted to do the grid. And we're going to do an ADM shirt. So I'm going to add it. ADM shirt, which is going to be gridded. So golf shirt. $25. I'd like to find a $25 golf shirt these days. It is apparel. And it is, we'll say, men's. Keep going through. And I don't really need any of this other stuff. Maybe I need to put in there that it weighs 2 pounds. That's probably a heavy shirt. The main thing I wanted to show you is what happens with this gridded item. I hit save. And I can copy from an existing grid, or I just hit OK. And it brings up my grid for me to modify in the add on the fly. And I am a patriotic guy. I'm going to do and click OK here. It brings up my inventory options, create inventory for all locations. 3 inventory records, 36 cell records created. Now I can close that and I can now receive however many of these I've received. So I think that's pretty handy when we go to I threw myself off trying to figure out why does it say gold shirt? And that would be because I mistyped golf. Throw me off there for a second. There we go. Anyway, it'll all be good in the end. All right. It doesn't want to change that. Very good. I'm not going to save this because it's not necessary. So finally, sometimes you have so many fields that that custom add on the fly isn't really that helpful, but you don't want to have all your data spread across 5 different fields. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to go back into my item record for a second, and I'm going to look at a number 1, which should be an ADM SCD. Okay, so say I'm setting up an item and I still don't want to hit the description tab and the profiles tab and the other tab, but I want to have available an ability to set up more barcodes and while I'm doing the set up the item, or I need to have set up alternate units. Not every time, but I want it to be available when I go to add an item, but I still don't want my sales associate hopping all over the database. And so we're going to do a custom form that sort of takes the best of both worlds, best of that big item maintenance screen and the simplify add on the fly. And I'm going to choose my IM item table. And I tend to name this form here, and it says standard form, not a custom form. This is a standard form. And I tend to name it after the table it's going to be associated with. It doesn't really matter. You can name it almost anything. And it says not on file. So I'm going to edit this. So now I'm going to leave the things that are on the main tab alone. But I do want attribute 1 and 2. I want profile code 1. That should be my recommended by. Let's see, show labels. Yes, that was my recommended by. I'm going to choose to put over here on this other tab, or this custom tab. I want a missed weight. There it is. Save changes, save and refresh. So now when I go to my item record and I want to add a new item, I hit the auto assign button. I can put in here, or maybe I want the copy from item number that's not available in the add on the fly. But I'm just going to put in here ADM, not the, we'll just call it that. It doesn't really matter. It's a standard field. It's $250. Last cost is $125. I buy it from Adams. Now, instead of going to description and getting my attribute and going to profiles and getting my profiles, I come down to this custom field, custom tab down here. I can choose my item attribute. This is a left-handed titanium, whatever it is, recommended by Tiger, and it weighs 18 pounds. So you can see how this brings the best of both worlds. Add on the fly is only good for items and customers. You can have a custom tab for vendors, vendor items, whatever field that has a maintenance form like this, you can do it. So probably I've hit the main ones: customers, vendors, items, vendor items. And I save that, and I'm going to get my same normal inventory records created was 3. Close all that. You're going to close. Doesn't really matter because I'm getting ready to come back to my slideshow. And so, key takeaways. We've learned how to enable an on-the-fly form. We've learned how to modify those on-the-fly forms. And we've learned to create a custom maintenance form. So how did we do? Share your feedback and topic suggestions by going to www.cksystem.com/trainingbytes-survey. If you just can't wait for Friday when you get the email with the link, you can go ahead and do it right now. Next month, our topic will be building a new store. Steps to build a new store. So hopefully your business is growing and you need to add locations. So what does it take to add a new store? How do you create the inventory? Other things you need to think about, such as taxes, credit card setup, things like that. So you'll be getting an email probably the first of next week that's to reserve your spot for next month. If you'd like for us to review this information with you using your database, with your information, instead of the demo golf, test golf database, you can call 888-476-7911, extension 3, or send an email to training@cksystem.com. So, Q&A. Gina, everything was clear as mud and nobody had any questions. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct. But I thought it was very clear and very good. But no, I don't see any questions. I'm going to check the chat. I know. What's up with that? Let's see. I just see old ones in here. And in the chat, same thing. I don't see anything except Tammy's, response earlier, that she doesn't have mic or camera. But I thought it was very good, Marty. Very, very good.
Well, thank you.
For those of you that joined late, remember there's another session at 1 o'clock, or you can just wait for your recording on Friday.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate y'all's feedback. Please do give feedback. This is something a little new to me. I did a lot more of this one than I've done in the other ones that I've presented. So I appreciate your feedback. I apologize if I sound a little hoarse. I had a birthday party this weekend that turned into a COVID super spreader event. So fortunately, I work at home, and so y'all should be safe from anything I might be contagious with. So, all right. Any
Hey,
last
here
chance?
we actually got a question.
Okay.
From Eric. Thank you for the presentation. Do you recommend any material for brand new users? Yeah, I recommend training with me. And Eric, I can always send you a training catalog so you can see what courses are offered, because maybe you have somebody that knows how to do receiving, but they don't know how to build an item or do purchasing. Or if it's somebody brand new, I definitely recommend ground up training. That includes basics and fundamentals, item entry, purchasing, receiving, store to store transfers if you have more than one store, point of sale, and reporting. What company are you with? I'll send you a catalog. Okay. Yeah, and Diane, I think Diane's with Dolly. All right, so yeah, I will happily send you a training catalog.
Okay. Any
All
other
right, good question.
questions? Okay.
All right, Marty,
All
thanks
right.
again.
Thank you, everybody. And for those who can't get enough, please come back this afternoon
I
for
will.
more excitement. And I will too. All righty.
All right, talk to
Thanks
you
a
later.
lot. Bye.